Who knew Walmart Business could help a thriving office motivate their employees? Pamela knew. She uses Walmart Business to get the assortment of items her team needs at the prices she loves.
As the office manager, it's my job to make sure my team stays on top of their game. I can get the basics like cleaning supplies and paper towels, but what they really care about, snacks.
And she can get everything they need when they need it.
Greg loves wheat crackers, Brenda craves sour candy, and Max, oh boy, he needs protein bars and milk and applesauce
It's
and
Walmart,
jerky.
built
and
for your
chocolate and
business.
fruit snacks.
Who knew?
Sewing Club podcast is coming at you today from Turrbal and Yagara country. We pay our respects to their elders past and present. Hey Kylie.
Hi, Gemma.
How's things?
Oh, things are pretty good. How are things with you?
Really good, thank you.
Today's episode is exciting.
It is.
Because we get to talk to beginner sewists.
Beginner sewists, yeah, absolutely. This is the pattern for you, beginner sewists.
Well, we should welcome everyone and potentially even more people to this podcast, because this is the podcast that people should listen to if they haven't quite ventured into the sewing of the garments yet.
This is a great place to start. So first of all, welcome to the Sewing Club podcast.
Welcome.
I'm Gemma from Sewing Gem.
And I'm Kylie from Kylie and the Machine.
What's been going on with you? What's going on over at Kylie and the Machine?
Well, we're busy creating products for the rest of the year, but I got to say, on a serious note, we kind of get to see what's happening with the industry because we do supply products to a lot of different shops around the world. And people probably might have already gathered this from, some vibes of people talking about things online. But I just got to say that independent shops that sell craft items, sewing, they are needing support from
Absolutely.
the community.
Yeah.
We see stores closing all the time. Independents. We're an independent
of course.
business
Yeah.
ourselves, and some people think that KTM is this big thing, and it's not really. It's a small business, but really, if we want small businesses to stay, we need to support them now.
Yeah.
So if you're considering buying something, fabric or otherwise, shop local, shop small. It means a lot to them.
Couldn't agree with you more, Kylie. I think you make a really excellent point there because we want these businesses to be around for a long time, right? Because like you say, we see so many of them, have to close their doors for whatever the reason. And it's really sad to see that. And we want to have that selection that small businesses bring. And I guess if, you want to see that on your high street or online, small businesses need the support.
Yeah. And everybody wants to have brick and mortar shops for fabric, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not going in and buying the fabric, they're not going to be there.
No.
So we need to now support people so that we can keep going.
Yeah.
Because, as you said, independents are the ones that are going to bring in the really good stuff.
The variety, hopefully the quality, and it's good to have the option to shop. And I think if you've got the option of shopping with a small business or a bigger business, then it's probably worth going with a small business to help support them.
Yeah, I really wanted to say this for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's an important point you make. Absolutely.
Yeah, we've been witnessing it happening for a while.
Yeah.
It just seems to be like, now is the time.
Yeah, and there's a lot going on in the world right now with, regarded to businesses and, without going into great detail about it. And it makes it a really uncertain time for every business really, but for, particularly for small businesses. So I think it's a good time to bring that into our conversation as well.
And speaking of businesses, this lady, Tilly, from Tilly and the Buttons, she has an amazing business.
She's another OG, really, isn't she?
Yes, definitely.
I was really excited to talk to her because she was one of the first ever contestants on the Great British Sewing Bee, which I really struggled to say, but I got it out.
The first ever season.
First ever season, yeah. And the Great British Sewing Bee is a really big thing in my house because coming from the UK, I always used to watch it when I lived over there. And then moved over here, and now my mum and my girls, we all sit down and we watch it with a cup of tea and some snacks, and the girls are into it. They're not really into sewing, but that we all as a family love watching it. Even my husband sometimes occasionally will, be tapping away on his laptop and just be half watching it. So it's a really big thing in our house, and it's something we all love to do together. So I was just really excited to grill somebody on what it's really like being a contestant on the show.
Yeah, and her company is actually releasing their 50th pattern.
Wow.
this month. Like that's such an achievement.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Knowing how much work goes into one.
Because, again, as we said at the beginning, the fact that these patterns are designed specifically for beginners, there's so many resources that goes into each pattern. It's not just a pattern, like with so many companies, but, you know, they've really done it with the beginner sewist in mind. I think
like a true beginner.
Yeah. And
like someone that doesn't know anything.
The instruction booklet is photographed, so you actually see it for real. There's no like working out which bit of the garment is that. They're really clear. And I think, you know, you can see that her background is in training because it's very apparent when you look at the resources. I think they actually have 2 more patterns coming out at the end of the year as well.
Yes.
So that's something to look forward to as well.
Definitely. And I know that we have said a couple of times, this is a great beginner pattern about other patterns. But we changed our mind. This is a great beginner pattern.
And there are other great beginner patterns.
Yes.
But if I was starting out sewing, let's just say for a moment, this would be the one I would say I was going to do first. Yeah. Should we talk about the pattern?
Yeah, we should talk about it. It's called the Stevie
Tunic.
Tunic.
And there's a top version or like a dress tunic version.
Yes,
What is the definition of a tunic?
Tunic. Yeah, it's not something that I use. Like it's like trousers and I don't use. It's maybe the English.
Well, I wouldn't use tunic, but maybe I'm
according
living
to
under a rock.
Google, it's a simple, loose-fitting garment that covers the torso, and it typically reaches from the shoulders to the hips or the knees. So it's like one single kind of piece.
Yeah, so there's no seams, no waist seam or anything like that. It's just a long go, which is kind of what, when somebody says the word tunic, that is what I have in my head. I just wasn't sure of the exact definition of
so
a
it's
tunic.
meant to be something that just pulls on and is a really simple garment.
Yeah.
So that's what a tunic is.
Okay.
I'll pop in at many times during this episode with some random.
Well, we've all learned something. Well, I've learned something
anyway.
Like
a glossary, a running glossary of the podcast.
Well, I appreciate that, so thank you. No, it's got a nice boxy fit to it. It's easy to fit, and I think that again is why it's such a great beginner pattern. There's no darts, there's no zips. You are basically going to end up with a tunic at the end of this process. You know, so that is why it's such a good beginner pattern.
It doesn't have any binding either.
No.
It's got facings.
Yes, it has facings, which are all, I love the fact that they're all stitched down, but we'll talk about that later. Has facings, no set-in sleeves. It's just the sleeve is an extension of the top. As I say, there's no zips. There's no real, there is a fastening at the back, but very simply done. There aren't really any difficult parts, not even a dart on this.
No.
Which means you do get a looser, boxier fit, but it also means that you're definitely going to have something that's going to fit you. If you go to the pattern measurements, see what your size is, you are going to have a garment that's going to fit you at the end.
Yeah. So many times people that are beginner sewers have shown me what they would like to make. And like, I'd really like to make this.
And you laugh?
I'm like, no, you should definitely make something more like this. And they're like, I don't like that. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Like you have to start somewhere basic. You know, sometimes people go, I want to have this dress with all these tiers and all these ruffles and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's lovely. And I know that's your style and we'll get there. But you have to start something more basic.
Yeah, you have to, go through the process, I guess, learning certain things and fabric choice, all of those things. But this is just a really good garment to start and introduce you to sewing. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a simple top or a simple dress with a single front and mostly a single back as well.
Yeah.
So there's only a few pieces to cut out. That's the other thing.
That's really simple as well. Yeah. And can be made out of a whole variety of fabrics. But we'll talk more about the best ones for beginners later on.
But back to our chat with Tilly.
Yes.
What a lovely lady
She's
she
so
is.
lovely. Yeah.
She's just as joyous in real life as I imagine her to be. I don't know.
I know.
She's just a gem.
I was so excited to ask Tilly. I had to know more about the great British sewing bee because she was one of the first contestants on the show, and I've often watched it and thought, oh, could I do that? But yeah, it was really interesting what she had to say.
It's much more crazy than it looks. It's so much pressure because as a viewer, what you can't see are all the contestants are sitting under these really hot lights all day, you've got an army of producers pointing cameras at you. So everywhere you look, you're on camera, and you've got a producer crouched down next to your sewing table, grilling you constantly on what you're doing. So you have to give this running commentary as you're sewing. You're not just sewing, you're also giving a running commentary. And if you make a mistake, they can sniff it out and they are ready to pounce and get all the cameras in. So now I just can't watch reality competitions anymore without really feeling for the contestants and really feeling sorry for them. But having said that, it was an incredible once in a lifetime experience and something to tell the grandkids about, which is why I did it.
Maybe one day we could do like a live episode of this sewing club podcast, but we could also sew the thing.
I love it. Yeah.
And then Jason could
just
be
popping
up going, what are you doing now, Kylie? Looks like you made a mistake.
Is that a seam ripper in your hand? What's happened?
Yeah.
Oh, and you've got 20 minutes to finish this really complex garment. Go.
And we'll have to have all the bright lights.
All the bright lights.
Those lights are
stressful
so hot.
and hot.
Oh.
And I can't begin to imagine. The more I watch this show, I just wish they could give the contestants just a little bit longer. Like I'm literally sweating on the sofa, like feeling the pressure for them. And I'm like, this is not a sewing competition. This is a speed sewing competition. And I'm feeling stressed. Sewing should be calm. And, it's not that. And I think what they do on there is just amazing. It really is amazing.
It's like the complete opposite of like a beginner garment.
Yeah.
That we're talking about. Because it's like, let's try and make the most complicated thing in the least amount of time.
And I probably shouldn't love this, but the middle transformation challenge when they wheel out those dummies, sometimes it's just brilliant. It's hilarious. Anyway. Hopefully there are some other fans out there that understand what I'm going on about here.
It's a shame we have to watch the episodes after they're already released and everyone's already talked about them.
I know, it is a shame, isn't it? And then I'm scrolling through Instagram or whatever and it announces the winner. I'm
Spoiler.
like, no! It's pretty amazing what Tilly has done, really, what she's created. And we asked her, I guess, how it all began.
It actually began life as a personal blog in 2010. I'd recently taken up sewing as a hobby and I just wanted to connect with like-minded makers and keep myself motivated to sew. I didn't know anyone in real life who sewed. And the blog became more popular and I just kept hearing the same story from blog readers and also from friends that they would love to sew as well, but they found patterns confusing and overwhelming because they just assumed a certain level of knowledge. They were aimed at older generations who had learned to sew at school or from their parents, and it just wasn't the same with people my age. So I knew I wanted to do something about this to get more people into sewing. I'd been working in training and education in the arts and creative sector, and I wanted to combine my professional experience with my passion for DIY fashion, but I wasn't quite sure exactly what form that was going to take initially. So I just started making these very beginner-friendly blog tutorials called Learn to Sew, and they became really popular and helped the blog to grow. And I got interest from book publishers. And then I took some courses in pattern cutting and started making patterns initially just for myself, but then blog readers were asking if they could make them too, if I could share them. So I thought, okay, I'll give this a go. So I made my first PDF pattern, which was a complete DIY job. And I mean, completely apart from grading into different sizes, I was the pattern cutter, the technical editor, the graphic designer, the model in inverted commas in my kitchen with camera on self-timer. This is, everything, web developer, everything. But it was really popular. And so basically bit by bit, the company just grew and evolved. And I started hiring people who knew what they were doing and outsourcing. And we've now got a small but amazing team of absolute superstars. And we've got a whole load of freelance experts as well who work with us on the patterns. Our focus is still to make beginner-friendly resources, but we also make sure that we're teaching people who want to improve their skills, new techniques and ways of doing things as well.
I've often wondered how long it actually takes to put the pattern and all the resources and everything together, because it just seems so comprehensive, all the pattern and the resources and everything that were available on the website.
Like, I imagine that creating all of the imagery for a beginner, it has to have every little detail. Whereas I think if you were creating patterns for somebody who was a bit more experienced, you can leave out a lot of detail.
There's assumed knowledge,
yes,
isn't there?
exactly.
And it has to be really clear. So we did ask her a little bit more about that.
God, I don't really want to think about the number of hours that goes into each one, because you're right. We put so much care and attention into each one. We only release on average 4 patterns a year because we really want to focus and make sure that they're as good as they can be, and that we have lots of resources to support people in making them as well and give people the best experience. But from start to finish, we tend to start working on a pattern somewhere between 6 to 8 months before it comes out. And so we're usually working on 2 or 3 patterns at different stages in development. So I work closely with our amazing production manager, Frances, who's got incredible attention to detail, and she coordinates a team of freelancers. So we have a pattern cutter who actually lives in France, and she's got decades of experience working for some of the big designer brands that you would have heard of. And then we work with fashion grading company, amazing photographer who's actually my childhood friend from home, graphic designer, models who are actually our amazing customers. Yeah, so it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It does sound like a lot of work. Making me feel stressful just hearing.
Must be hard coordinating all the different contractors as well.
But she sounds like she's got a really great team, which I think is, so important in all of this.
Definitely.
We also asked her what 3 words she would use to describe Tilly and the Buttons, which was pretty cool.
I would say accessible, educational, and joyful, because we always want to encourage more people into sewing. We want to break down those barriers to entry. We want to teach people new skills, but we also want people to really enjoy the process. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We think sewing should be fun and not put too much pressure on people, and everything's got a very down-to-earth vibe in our brand.
I think that those 3 words really sum up the Stevie so well. All her patterns, but particularly the Stevie. And we were really interested to hear what actually inspired the Stevie.
So I've taught a lot of beginner sewers and talked to a lot of beginner sewers, and I know that a lot of them struggle with patterns that are labelled for beginners, but they really aren't, because they expect too much, or they include fiddly closures or details or close fitting. So I wanted to create a pattern to set people up for sewing success, really. So Stevie's got no darts, no zips, buttonholes, no bias binding. The sleeves are grown on, so they can be attached on the flat, which is a lot easier than setting them in, as we know. It's very easy to fit, and it works with fabrics that are easy to handle, like cotton, lawn, and linen. So it's a pattern that a lot of people use to teach beginners, and it's a great one to recommend for anyone who wants to start sewing. And for more experienced stitchers, it's a quick and satisfying make. It's very wearable, and it's really customizable as well. It's one of those patterns that's a great blank canvas for prints or trims or details or pattern hacks.
Yeah, there's loads of Stevies. If you look at the hashtag, the pattern's been out for quite a few years. So there's lots of inspiration there.
There's also an add-on, which we should mention as well for our listeners. So you can also buy an add-on to the pattern, which includes a sleeve and a gathered skirt.
Yep.
So you make the top version and then attach a gathered skirt, and that just makes it a little bit more varied, and you can do it probably better for a cooler climate as well if you've got a longer sleeve, and it gives it a slightly different look.
Yeah. I feel like with the pattern and the add-on, you've got a lot to play around with.
You have. And, she talks about the fact that it is really a blank canvas as well. So good for like big prints and things like that as well.
Yeah. If you've got like some fabric that you've been looking at and you think, I love it, but I don't know what to make, and you just like the print. Yeah. A simple top is sometimes the best for those.
The best way to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about fabric?
Yeah, I think, obviously we've talked a lot about how it's very beginner friendly. So a nice stable fabric is always good, but you could really make it out of
Most
anything.
things, yeah.
I know that Tilly did suggest that the more stable fabrics that she loves double gauze, didn't she? She said
Yes.
that would be her favourite.
But we wouldn't suggest double gauze for your first ever thing that you've ever sewn. First of all, it's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And it frays a little bit. I would start with like a cotton,
yeah,
or a linen.
She suggested linen, chambray, a lawn, a viscose, a rayon, even a silk. But yeah, those last few, the viscose, the rayon, the silk, probably you want to do later on when you've got that first bit of experience of sewing.
Yeah. And the fact that it has a facing, it does have interfacing on the facing, but I didn't put interfacing on mine just because, so that's something you don't really learn until you've worked with lots of different fabrics. Some fabrics is going to need the interfacing and some won't. And the type of interfacing that you use is so important.
Oh my gosh.
So don't be putting like really thick, heavy interfacing on this facing because it'll just be stiff and it won't age well.
I think you touch on such an important point there. And I think the quality of your interfacing, like it's an easy thing to think, I'll just get cheap interfacing. But if you're using a woven fabric, you should definitely be using a woven interfacing. Otherwise, you're going to have weird fabric when you use it, when you attach it to the fabric. When you are looking for an interfacing, you're looking for an interfacing that is closely matched to your fabric as possible. You're just adding a bit of stability so that it doesn't stretch out in places and it gives it the, I guess, stability that it needs in particular areas. But if you're putting something completely different on that fabric, it's going to change it completely and make it very hard.
Too. You just put a little bit of scrap on.
See what it's going to do. Is it going to be like a bit of cardboard?
Like stiff, because it sits around your neckline and it's meant to go to the curve of your body. So if you make that too stiff, then it won't do that, and it'll just be like this stiff collar thing that will just be like probably
unless you're making a collar, and then of course you want some stiffness. But again, you just use a slightly heavier interfacing that's still woven, So I guess I think that's a really important tip. Even if your fabric doesn't need it, don't use the interfacing, and if you think it might need it, don't scrimp on it.
Yeah,
Get
and
stuff
go
that
light.
matches.
Go light. I'd say always go too light.
Lighter is better than heavier.
Yeah, I think so too. But Gemma sells interfacing if you want to buy interfacing.
Good quality interfacing.
Yeah. But in terms of fabric, it's really about, what you want, what you've got, and we should talk about toiles.
Yes. Did you make a toile?
This is my wearable toile.
Very good.
I knew that it would be a pretty, I knew it would.
Do you reckon I made one?
I feel like whichever answer I say is going to be like I'm going to be in trouble.
No, you're not going to be in trouble.
I feel like
well, you might be actually, Kylie.
If you did do a toile, why would you do a toile? I'm not sure because you want to make adjustments. But if you didn't do a toile,
you're not going to be in trouble. You can just guess.
Ooh, you didn't make a toile.
I didn't. I'm so proud of myself.
So a toile is when you make a test version
Yes.
in some fabric that's not as important to you, like maybe you've got some old fabric or some sheet or something that you just want to make a test version so you can test out all the techniques and the skills before you go and buy some nicer, more expensive fabric, and you want to cut that out. Yeah. And then once you've done one toile of this garment, then you know what tweaks you need to make, and then you can just keep making them and make little hacks and changes to make it your own.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're making a little, if you're going straight into your good fabric, it is the kind of garment where you can just go straight in and just because I think I just took my side seams in a tiny touch because you know how I like to fiddle with these things. I didn't need to make a toile for that. There was no dart. I didn't, really it's a garment that you don't need to. But if you're new to sewing, sometimes making a toile can give you the confidence to know what you're doing so that when you do go into your good fabric, you know you're not going to make any mistakes because you've already done it once. It's actually quite a good way of becoming more comfortable with the pattern as well.
Yeah, and to do it sort of back to back as well.
Yeah. Tilly actually gave some really good tips for sewing the Stevie.
Yeah.
Complete beginners, I would pick a stable fabric that's not going to slip and slide around. So cotton lawn, a chambray or a linen. Read the instructions carefully if you're a beginner. Again, there's lots there to help you. For example, there's a pivot point on the back facing that you can mark on, and that will help you to sew the corners very neatly. And then when you're sewing the back yokes to the back bodice, just take your time to check that they're sitting flush at the centre, and you can tack or baste across them first if you want, just to check that you don't get a little gap there. And if you get stuck on any particular technique, we've got lots of free video tutorials on our blog on things like stay stitching, understitching, how to use interfacing, and lots more.
Who knew Walmart Business could help a thriving office motivate their employees? Pamela knew. She uses Walmart Business to get the assortment of items her team needs at the prices she loves.
As the office manager, it's my job to make sure my team stays on top of their game. I can get the basics like cleaning supplies and paper towels, but what they really care about, snacks.
And she can get everything they need when they need it.
Greg loves wheat crackers, Brenda craves sour candy, and Max, oh boy, he needs protein bars and milk and applesauce
It's
and
Walmart,
jerky.
built for your business. Who knew?
From start to finish, everything is in here. And I mean everything. You've got to start with the garment and like familiarize yourself with the different parts of the garment.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got advice of how to cut out the garment. And that's, we've talked about that before. Cutting is really important.
It is.
And the seam allowance is 1.5 centimeters,
Yep.
which is, it's quite
Friendly
for beginners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because your presser foot, which is the part of the sewing machine that's pressing down on the fabric, it has a lot more to grip on. You're not trying to sew right next to the raw edges. So often when you have these 5/8 or 1.5 centimeters, you do end up with a bit more fabric wasted, or you have to trim those. But it is good for beginners to have more to work with than less.
And if you haven't done a toile and you might want to take it out a little bit in certain areas, you've got that a bit more capacity to do that as well.
Yeah, that's right. I found that it was a little bit more fitted than other boxy tops.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Like I feel like most of them are more oversized.
So we both made the top, right?
Yes, I made the top.
I did think about the dress, but I was making mine out of a rayon and wanted to be able to tuck it in. So it made sense to me because I had rayon fabric, I wasn't sure about that as a tunic or as a dress. So I thought it would be nicer like tucked into pants or whatever, jeans. Yeah.
I mean, if we're comparing this boxy top to, say, the Elizabeth Suzanne Georgia top, which is also a boxy top, it's a very different silhouette. I think this is comes in a little bit more to the curve of your body.
Yep.
And the other one was more oversized.
It was, absolutely. Yeah.
So there is a page in here called the Jargon Buster.
Ah, so cool.
Which is basically a glossary.
Yeah.
And it doesn't tell you what a tunic is, so that's why I threw it.
It's a friendly glossary.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the very basic stuff in here, and the language that's used in the instructions is very easy to understand, and the pictures.
Just the photos for me, I think
photos.
really just steps it up a notch, because you're seeing it almost like in real. This is really what it will look like when you sew it. It's not like an illustration, which sometimes you've got to work out, as I said before, which bit of the garment is which.
Yes.
But there's no misunderstanding there. It's very clear.
And what about the actual pattern pieces? Sorry if you can hear this rough.
For the listeners, there's an actual pattern piece here.
Yeah, I've got a piece of paper. This is the yoke.
Yep.
And it has these little markings.
That's
on
very cool.
What part of the garment is that? This is the shoulder seam. This is the neckline. This is the back opening. This is the armhole. Because we take for granted that we know what this is.
Yeah.
But if you're a beginner,
if you've
this
never
might not
sewn
look
it
like
before, you
anything.
wouldn't know.
And so every edge of the pattern piece has
That's
a
cool.
description of where it fits with the other parts. So I've never seen that.
That is a real beginner-friendly touch.
And that's on all the pieces. All the pieces have, this is where you cut, this is the length and shorten, this is this is the notch for this is the bust notch, this is
There's
many
no
markings.
assumed knowledge at all, which is
great.
great. Because if you've never sewn anything in your life, you need a pattern like that, right? That's going to, help you work through and end up with something that looks like a tunic.
Yeah, definitely.
We should talk about the fabrics that we both use. Kylie, what did you use for your top?
Yeah, so I used a linen that has some little embroidered diamonds on it,
Yeah.
or like rectangles. And I just recently got it from my friend in a D-stash, and yeah, it's really nice fabric.
It looks
I've got
beautiful.
enough to maybe make a little matching pair of shorts.
Cute. I love it. Yeah, it's really, really nice fabric. I just used a rayon for mine.
I love your colour.
Yeah,
so much.
it's. I've been gravitating towards this color a lot. It's the same as the dress we made a few months back.
Yeah.
And I just obviously am feeling that color at the moment because
It's a good colour.
Yeah.
Is it? Would you say turquoise?
Yeah, tealy, turquoise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway,
got a really
it's
nice
good.
drape to it, which
Yeah.
is very different from mine because mine is a linen and it's more stable.
Yeah.
So, and you did the cuffs.
I did the cuffs, completely different silhouette, and you did the button at the back, and I did the tie.
Yes.
So yeah, very different. I think you'll see that in the photos that they're very the same but different.
I like that it does have the option to have a tie or a button because then, if you're a beginner, you go, I don't want to do a tie.
Yeah.
Or maybe, and it uses my trick, which is what I usually do.
Yes, we should mention that though.
Yeah. So if you are going to do the button, you can use a hairband for the loop.
That's cool.
So usually you make a loop
Yeah.
at the teeny tiny little roll-oo loop thing. But I guess for beginners, this is better. It's like a little bit of elastic that goes on the loop, and you can just use a hair tie. If you want to color match things, you know how it's hard to find
that's
different colored elastic, but you can get really bright colored hairbands.
Yep.
There was one part that I thought was different to how I would do it, and that's the understitching. So
I didn't actually look at these.
I actually
I just understitched.
yeah, I just thought that this was interesting. So understitching is one of these things that I will shout from the rooftops that you have to do it.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
It's one of those things.
It's a rule.
Yeah, like a little motto is like, don't skip the understitch.
Oh,
Like,
it will
yeah,
look like.
yeah. And don't skip it for this. But this is a different method that I haven't seen before. It's like actually, I always stitch from the top down. Like, yeah, this is actually
So you have the front
stitching
of
from
the garment.
underside.
Is it?
Yeah. And I don't know about that because I feel like you've got more chance of getting like a little pucker on the underside.
I want to see the top. I want
wanna
to see the
be-
front of
yeah.
all the bit that you're more likely to see for sure. But that's what I'm used to doing. So maybe we should try it first and then.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a picture of,
Can I see?
have a look.
Really, I missed that.
Yeah, understitching.
Oh,
Maybe that's the correct way of doing it, and maybe that's why
Maybe.
it's called understitching because you stitch from the underside as opposed to top stitching,
This is so true.
which is what I've been doing. So maybe I've been doing it wrong.
But well, me too. Yeah.
What size did you make, Gemma?
I made a size 4, and as I said before, I didn't make a toile. I didn't have to make many alterations. Just at the very end, before I did the hem, I decided just to take it in a tiny little bit down the side seam.
Yeah, I made a straight size 2 because that was based on my measurements. It does have here the UK, Australia, US, and European equivalent sizes to the Tilly and the Buttons size chart. However, when you're looking at a size chart and deciding what pattern size to cut out, very much so ignore the sizes
Yes.
usually. Like they can be, varied.
I can.
And you can go on the body measurements and the finished garment measurements.
Absolutely. And, just bear in mind that the finished garment measurements will have ease built into it. And that means room for your body to move. So they will be bigger than your actual measurements.
Yeah. But this garment doesn't have a lot of ease for a woven top. I think it's good. It's
Yeah,
it's
but
good.
there's a bit in there. You're not looking for the finished measurements to be the same as your
No.
body. That's when you want to probably go more to the garment measurements.
Yes, that's right. But this is true to size though, I think.
Yes, I agree.
Well, I said use the size chart, but I think with this you could probably be good to
Yeah.
go with the size.
I agree.
Yeah.
I do want to touch on the fact that one of the instructions is to sew down the facings, which I
Yes.
really like because I'm not a fan of flappy facings.
Neither.
So I think that's really good. Don't skip that point because you'll be grateful you haven't when you're wearing it and it wants to flick in and out. So
and use glue.
yes, good, cool. I did the same actually.
Glue is the best for
Yeah.
holding a facing in
I
place.
like that. I like that.
And the fact that this pattern has facings to finish the neckline means that it's a lot simpler than, say, a binding finish, which is kind of like would be the next sort of step in your sewing journey to have another finish. But the facings are really simple.
Yeah, they're a good way to start again. Yeah.
And they also give you a nice place to put labels.
Yes.
You can sew labels onto
Did
the
you use a label?
facings. Nope. I forgot.
I got, well, clearly
I-
there needs to be a step in the instructions that says now
Exactly.
put your label in.
Exactly. I will add one retroactively, but I definitely just got lost in the sewing of this one, and it's kind of just kept going.
Yeah.
What about you?
I use one of your new labels, the new Claire Ritchie collection.
Oh yes.
Remind me what it's called, Kylie.
Full bloom.
Full bloom. And I found a flower that matched really well to my fabric, and I was very happy about that. So
yeah, I think I might add one of those as well. Because,
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, this is.
Needs a little
I'm
something,
definitely
something.
going to wear this. I also haven't. I need to find the perfect button.
okay,
Like I need to go and find like a single button that is special or something.
a special button.
Yeah, because you know, if you've ever inherited like a jar of buttons,
there should be some special buttons.
yeah,
in
you
there.
go through them and you go,
Yeah.
oh, okay, well, there's like 6 of these and there's 8 of these, and then sometimes you go, oh, look at this one, and it's just one.
Beauty,
And
yeah.
you think, what am I going to do with this one button? Well, this is what you do with it.
Yeah,
You
you're right.
Put it on a top.
Good tip.
Yeah,
And sew it on well if it's a really special button because you don't want to lose it.
yeah, that's right.
Shall we do the ratings, Kylie?
Oh, yes, we should.
Okay, let's start with size inclusivity.
Okay, so the size chart goes from a US 2 to a US 30, so that's good.
Yeah, I think we give it a 4.5. Yeah, it's up there for sure. And drafting, I mean, we've just pointed
Yeah.
out all the it's a good pattern. It goes together really well.
It really does.
Plus there's all the extra information on the pattern itself,
Mm-hmm.
the notches, the information about which part matches up with the other part.
Yeah.
It's it's great.
We'll give the drafting 5.
Instructions.
Well, the instructions are where this pattern company shines.
Yeah, this is their
yeah.
main focus really, isn't it?
Yeah, because they use a combination of like photos, adding illustrations, and then they have video on their website with
Lots of
more
tutorials.
photos and more tutorials. So, yeah,
5.
5.
Difficulty.
Well, it has to be a 1.
Yeah, a 1 or 1.5.
Yeah.
It's a super simple pattern. And as
Really
we've
good.
said over and over, a great starting point
Yeah.
for people. Price. So the PDF is 29 Australian dollars.
Mhm.
So that again falls into our $2 signs.
And I did see that on the website they have online courses, and there's one specifically of sewing a simple top. So this is like literally for the beginner. Like,
Yep.
so you've just got a sewing machine.
You've never
You know
used
how
it
to
before.
thread it, and now you want to make something.
Yeah,
That's
you're
who
like,
it's for.
what am I going to make?
Yeah.
Okay, so overall,
Well, we went into this knowing that it was a beginner pattern and that we really wanted to show something that someone could really actually start with. And if we're rating it on that, I think we're going to rate it really high.
absolutely.
For us, we felt like it was so easy for us
Yeah.
that there wasn't really much to sink our teeth into,
Stuck into, yeah.
It was over so quickly. But I think for a beginner, this is a really, really,
Yeah,
really
and
good
I think that's
pattern.
how we're going to
Yeah.
rate it because that's their target market.
Yeah.
They're aiming it at beginner sewists. So
If you're more experienced, you might think that
it's a bit too simple.
It's a bit too simple.
But, there's lots of things you can do to it. And as we've talked about the hacks and, there are ways to adapt it. So it's not, I don't think it would be a bad idea for an experienced sewist to make. And sometimes
Absolutely
those
not.
easy sews are one of the nicest things to just go and do and get a quick win.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was quite nice,
Yeah.
starting something and having something very quickly be finished. Yeah.
So how many sewing club stamps do we give it, Kylie?
Ooh, what do you think?
We
What
give
do we
it
give it?
4.5 sewing club stamps. Sorry.
Lots of stamps.
Lots of stamps.
Hello, Sally.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Jam. Hi, Kylie.
What have you got for us next month?
Actually, I don't have anything for you for the
Oh.
next episode. A little break from the usual program. I feel like we've got so much going on with our collective companies that
Yeah.
it's just time to go home and sew something that you've been wanting to sew forever for yourself, and it's been sitting there. You've got the material ready. So I can't wait to see what you're both going to sew.
Thank you.
Exciting.
And then you can nerd about it together.
this does help. Yeah, it is a lot of work doing sewing all the patterns that we have to in amongst all the extra work that we do with our companies. So this will be nice, Gemma.
It will be nice. And it will be nice to, we love doing the podcast, but there is a very sort of distinct pattern to everything that we do. So it will be nice just to go rogue for a bit and just see what we fancy sewing.
I know exactly what I'm going to make.
Oh, are you going to tell us?
No, because I'm not, I have to still work it all out. But
okay.
I have an event that I'm going to, so I'm going to make something for that.
Okay, exciting. I think I'm going to use it to do a lot of sewing that I need to do for the business and getting the classes up and running. But hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit of personal sewing too.
Awesome. Yeah. And as our listeners, and they can also.
Absolutely, yeah.
Go rogue. Look at your unfinished projects or passion projects that you've wanted to work on.
See what you fancy. See what you need.
Get the Sojo going.
Yeah.
Sojo.
Woo! So thanks so much for listening, everyone. We would love it if you could join our Facebook group, the Sewing Club Podcast Community, where we can share our makes and tips and tricks along the way.
And we have an Instagram as well, which is sewingclub.podcast. We have feedback forms attached to that. You can see our garments in the wild. We post videos there, and we love hearing all the feedback, so keep it coming.
We'd love it if you could subscribe, rate, review the podcast. All of that helps to get this podcast to as many people as possible.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Who knew Walmart Business could help a thriving office motivate their employees? Pamela knew. She uses Walmart Business to get the assortment of items her team needs at the prices she loves.
As the office manager, it's my job to make sure my team stays on top of their game. I can get the basics like cleaning supplies and paper towels, but what they really care about, snacks.
And she can get everything they need when they need it.
Greg loves wheat crackers, Brenda craves sour candy, and Max, oh boy, he needs protein bars and milk and applesauce
It's Walmart,
and jerky.
built for your business. Who knew?